So they're now arresting American citizens. That's the subject of today's video. And you know that Trump and Musk were promising mass deportations. They've been bragging about these arrests. I told you guys from the very beginning when I was reading through the reports, a lot of it was vague and unclear. I wasn't sure exactly who they're arresting and why. It turns out in New York, they made arrest of an American citizen without a warrant. Let me go over the details of this stuff, and there's a lot to cover. So let's go right in. So this is the headline here. ICE agents detain American citizens in New York raid. The mayor there of New York made a statement and said, today, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents raided a local establishment in the city of New York. I think it was like a seafood restaurant or something like that, detaining undocumented residents as well as citizens without producing a warrant. One of the detainees is a U.S. military veteran who suffered the indignity of having the legitimacy of his military documentation questioned. This is an egregious act in plain violation of the Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, which guarantees the right of people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures. New York will not stand idly while people are being unlawfully terrorized. This the kind of headlines that we're looking at today. Americans back border security, but oppose arrests in schools and churches. I know it's insane that we're even having these discussions, but we are. Senator Booker made a statement with in coordination with Andy Kim. So these are both senators from New Jersey. We are deeply concerned about the news and an ICE raid in New York today. Our offices have reached out to the Department of Homeland Security to demand answers. Actions like this one sow fear in our communities, and our broken immigration system requires solutions, not fear tactics. We will continue to work with Mayor Baraka and other local officials to gather more information to ensure all New Jerseyans are safe and their dignity and rights are protected. So that's Senators Cory Booker and Andy Kim. Coming in from the White House, this is their spokesperson, Caroline Leavitt. This is the kind of stuff that they say. So today, the Trump administration arrested 538 illegal immigrant criminals, including a suspected terrorist, 4 members of the Tren Aruga gang, and several illegals convicted of sex crimes among minors. They also say here, 15 hours ago, the Trump administration also deported hundreds of illegal immigrants via military aircraft. The largest mass deportation operation in history is well underway. Promises made, promises kept. So you can understand what's going on here. There's a bunch of arrests made. They're saying they're all illegal immigrant criminals. Give a few of the crimes. And I'll be perfectly frank. I'm not against arresting, gang members if you're doing violent crimes, that kind of thing. I'm not against that at all. So fine. Fine. I mean, I want to make this clear because sometimes people treat this as a black and white issue, and it's not. There's a lot of gray areas here where if you're arresting Americans without a warrant, even a military veteran in the case of in New York. The other issue, we're using military assets, as you can see here, using military aircraft. There's a lot of legal ramifications with all the stuff that they're trying to pull. And we just talked about yesterday where the judge ruled that some of these things that the Trumps and Musk are doing is blatantly unconstitutional. On top of that, coming from right-wing media or the crazy people you'll see on, Musk's platform, just they make bad faith arguments. Let me give you an example. Listen to this.
Kamala says she wasn't going to go quietly, but she's been as quiet as a mime. Mamala just launched a blog, though, and we clicked on it, and she wants our email address so she can ask us for money. And she needs it because grocery prices are ridiculous. She just found out about inflation. The New York Post caught her grocery shopping with Dougie Fresh. What kind of husband goes grocery shopping with his wife?
So that was Jesse Waters questioning whether or not a husband should go grocery shopping with the wife.
What kind of husband goes grocery shopping with his wife?
It's like who are these people? It's frankly bad faith arguments. They pretend to be dumb. I don't even think Jesse's that dumb. Maybe he is. I don't know. But they're appealing to, frankly, just people who have, how's the right word to say it? They're maybe say down on their luck, looking for someone to blame. And then you get crazy people doing crazy actions. That's why it's really dangerous, the stuff that Musk and these Waters or any of the Trumpers that they say, because you just don't know how it is, and who's listening to your contents. And again, a lot of this stuff is disingenuous. So like, for example, they're being dishonest. It's not in good faith. For example, here's Elon Musk. He says, Matt Gaetz has 3 critical assets that are needed for the AG role: a big brain, spine of steel, and an axe to grind, right? So that's, I guess, what you want in an attorney general. He is the Judge Dredd America, needs to clean up a corrupt system, but a powerful bad actors in prison, right? Put powerful bad actors in prison. Gaetz is a hammer of justice, right? So that was back in November, where Elon Musk is pumping up Matt Gaetz. And this is who Matt Gaetz is, right? You guys know who this, Matt, and this is the headlines back in December. Gaetz paid tens of thousands for sex and drugs, ethics report. Like I said, a lot of this stuff is bad faith arguments that they're making. They're not being careful. They're being reckless with how they, carry out these orders. Again, arresting an American today, a military veteran, in fact. On top of that, and again, this is sort of, when you pull it together, you'll kind of see how they're doing things. They're just going so quickly. It's frankly like a blitzkrieg. Trump made a pardon of like all the January 6 people. So some of these people are violent. One tried to get a gun recently. In that particular case, it was like someone who threw an explosive device in the Capitol. There's all sorts of problems with this stuff. Listen to Musk here, and I want you guys to see how bad faith of actors these people are. Have a listen.
These numbers every day, but for us to hear, we'll give you $3 million.
Yeah, it sounded extremely. We thought they were crazy. Why would they do that?
It was literally like, these people are insane.
They obviously do not realize we're sleeping in the office.
In fact, when they did fund us, they realized that we were illegal immigrants.
Well,
yes, we were.
I'd say it was a gray area.
Yeah, yes, we were. We were illegal immigrants. We were sleeping in the office. We didn't have a car. We had one car, but the wheel kept falling off.
Actually, yeah, the wheel.
So I've covered this before on the channel, right? Musk and his brother are talking about being illegals. This is the kind of stuff, right? These people are hypocrites. There's bad faith arguments, and again, they're putting out this kind of information when they're doing this so quickly. Of like they need to paint anyone who looks a certain way is being dangerous to you. It's always the same stuff with the Musk. If you want, look at his Twitter feed. It's like nonstop every day. Every 10 minutes he'll tweet out something like, "Oh, it's the dark people trying to hurt the light skinned people." Right? That's what it is. That's what he talks about. Because remember, Musk is a child of apartheid, and that's how these people think. It's endless, and what's crazy too, because they always brag about, we want to uphold the law, we're upstanding citizens, and Musk has this kind of stuff at him all the time, right? So this was just back in January 14th. SEC sues Musk over Twitter stock buys, escalating long simmering feud, basically insider trading kind of stuff, right? On top of that, Musk cars, frankly, kill people. There's no other way to put it. They're dangerous. And he wants it so that there's no crash reporting for his vehicles. So I want you to understand when they talk about like, oh, government's too big and we hate regulations, it's to remove all this stuff so his companies are unregulated, so he can drop rockets on your house. Just recently, right, they had that SpaceX explosion. His rockets explode in the sky. And guys, as I said, I want to make it really clear. I can say, for all of us, we none of us really want any dangerous criminals on the streets. I don't think anyone, and they try to make it act like, people on the other side are just soft on crime. No, I mean, like, none of us want dangerous criminals out there. I totally get that. The problem is if you do these kind of executive orders, right, and you make these blanket arrests or blanket pardons, you're not being careful. You're being reckless. And when you have these kind of people who are drunk with power and behave in this way, this is what happens. On top of that, you're inundated with, and I'll just kind of show you the kind of stuff that Musk talks about, and he's always going on like women need to have more babies kind of stuff. It kind of paints, I mean, like, seriously, this is what, and Musk is the kind of person who walks around in his office, this is at work, and it's been reported several times, he's been sued, where he'll ask his employees to be like, would you like to have my children, my babies? Or he'll ask like other people, like, would you like my sperm? It's weird. Like, how do you even discuss this stuff with people? That's how, It's frustrating to talk about it. It's like shouldn't it be obvious that these people are clownish, are dangerous, and frankly unqualified and ill-equipped to be, leading the country? It should be obvious. But I guess it's not to some people, and so that's why I guess you have to repeat this stuff over and over again. And I warned you guys about these kind of things. It could get really, really messy and ugly the way that the way that they're carrying it out. I was thinking about this too, because people say, oh, Chris, like, we have to get rid of all these undocumented workers, illegal immigrants, because they're breaking the law, etc. The problem with this, and I want to be really clear on this. So I don't disagree, right? People across the border illegally. So I said I want to have an honest conversation about this. I completely get it. I completely get it. They cross the border illegally. I get that. The problem is that we're all in on that particular crime. And what do I mean by that? We eat the food from people who maybe, are in the country illegally that picked berries or did they work in the meat packing plant. Like we're in on it. Like our money's going to these type of companies. Like sometimes people say, Chris, we have to boycott all these companies, but like, it's hard to boycott every single, restaurant out there in the country, or hard to boycott every single hotel, for example, because there's going to be illegal immigrants that work at hotels, or they're going to work at, like your food, companies, or, there's going to be illegal immigrants or undocumented workers, or where do you want to say it, that put the roof on your house, right? It's hard to boycott your own house. That's why that topic is so messy, is because we're all in on it, right? And if you really wanted to address the issue, because people say, because here I'm addressing, right exactly, where people say, well, Chris, what about in Korea if you try to be a legal immigrant, right? How do you feel about it? And if you don't know, one, I'm an American citizen, right? So here, when it came to Korea, my wife and I, we have to go to the immigration office here, and I have to register these kind of things because I'm American. And the system here is really different. Because it's hard. For example, if you're not a citizen, it's hard to get a phone, it's hard to get a bank account, it's hard to rent an apartment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like the system is much more difficult over here. In USA, it's really different. This is really, really different. You can get a bank account, you can rent a place, right? You can buy a car, you can do all these other things. And frankly, because everyone's in on it, frankly, because people who are undocumented workers are just part of the economic system. They even pay Social Security taxes, right? They help support the system. They take care of your kids. They build your buildings. They feed you food. Like, it's just part of the system. I think the system is broken in the sense that you have these people that are functioning part of the economy. They're not hurting you by any way, shape, or form. And whereas the Trumps must actually act like they're all dangerous criminals. And I even be honest with you, because this is why we have to have the honest conversation. Yes, you're going to find dangerous people in any group of people. That's what I said, any group of people. But they only want you to focus on the ones of a certain skin color, right? So for me, it's all the same. If you're dangerous criminals, no matter what you look like, right? Sure, arrest them. Sure, throw the book at them. I have no problem with that. But it doesn't mean that everyone is like that. And then when you do these blanket things, it's just frankly reckless. So I hope you understand the message is what I'm saying. I'm saying it's just part of the American system that needs to be fixed. And you don't expect to, have good results if you're going to do it in the way that the Trumps and Musks want to do it. I'll give you another example. Let's say with flying. Why I mentioned flying, because I think the law has changed. I believe it's this year. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Where they're going to have this True ID thing in the USA, and you might have heard about these things with your driver's license or passports, etc. And before you implement that kind of system, changing to that True ID system, as I think that's what they're calling it, you'll give people warnings. It's like another year, etc. And it takes time to implement this kind of thing. So if you're going to do, some sort of way to clean up the immigration system in USA and streamline it, or whatever you're going to do, you have to do it in phases so that it makes sense and you do things properly, opposed to going and breaking people's civil rights. So in my opinion, which is it's not even an opinion, it's the law. You don't go and arrest people without a warrant. And we're also talking about, again, American citizen and military veteran on top of that. There's multiple things that we can all get upset about, of course. But I wish we'd just get back to just common sense, reasonability with any of these conversations. And then that's why I show you guys, like, say, the Fox News Jesse Waters dude who's like complaining if a husband goes shopping with groceries with the wife. Like that's the kind of bad faith arguments that we're saying. And for the Fox News and the Musk, they're trying, Musk keeps saying that women just have to, have babies all day, that kind of stuff. They're appealing to a certain kind of mentality that wants to literally roll back the thinking, centuries kind of stuff. So that's my thoughts on this. I want to hear yours, and I'll catch you on the next video.